Obviously, a very, very good football team. They deserve exactly where they're at. Defense made enough plays for them to win the game. Their special teams put them in situations where they could be explosive, and they did some really nice things, and some of the things that we tried to do against them. And then their offense is just outstanding, extremely explosive with dynamic personnel. Questions?
Coach? Yeah, in the front, John.
Dino, what stands out to you about that, like, pistol kind of option offense, I guess, like, from an offensive perspective, like, what do they kind of force the defense to do, or what kind of, what are they doing?
Well, when you look at it, it's really, it's kind of old school football. It's almost, I don't want to throw you guys out, but you hit it differently. It's like running the wishbone from being in the shotgun and being in the eye. They're bringing a player across, they're attacking the midline, bringing an extra guy across the midline. It's a very, very challenging offense for a defensive team because they're moving right before the snap, and that move can change a guy's responsibility from quarterback to running back. And the guys have to be sharp and they have to be on. So it's not only is it a physical offense, but it's also a mental offense at the same time.
How similar was kind of the offense that we saw Louisville run today as to when, like, Lamar Jackson was there? Is that kind of similar to what we've seen?
No, they're doing something entirely different. This would be closer to what Georgia Tech was doing than what Louisville did last year. Closer, not identical, but closer.
Steven?
Why did you decide to put Clayton in for Tommy at that point?
Excuse me?
Why did you decide to put Clayton in for Tommy on that 4th and 9?
He had been taking some hits, and he wasn't 100% out there, and I didn't want him to be trying to do certain things where he wasn't full go. We needed quarterback's legs. We wanted to do some things with the run game, and the throws that we had to make, Clayton could make them. Tommy had did enough, so we took him out.
It was your decision? It's not like he was uncleared by the medical staff?
It was my decision.
Front row?
What did the officials explain anything on the onside kick as far as calling the penalty?
Yeah, they did. You guys are going to have to look up the rule. I had never heard what they said before, so I don't want to be naive about it. So I'm going to go back and check it. But they came up with a rule why those guys got to get the ball.
How was it explained to you?
They said that one of our guys blocked somebody who wasn't touching the ball before they were allowed to block them.
Okay.
Any other questions for Coach? Andrew?
When you're looking at those two red zone tries you had late, I think about 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter and 7 minutes left, I guess when you come away from both of those not having punched it in when you really need it, like, do you get frustrated, or do you get, I guess, how do you sort of move through that and, like, not the desired outcome, but still trying to...
It's like chopping wood. You don't get frustrated. You got to keep chopping, or you're never going to get through the log. So, in order to make the game a game that you can win, you have to score touchdowns. And we can kick field goals and try to feel good like it was a close score when it was all said and done. But if you're going to, especially this team we were playing, I don't think anybody out there wanted us to kick field goals. They were like, they need to get a touchdown right here, and that's exactly the way we felt.
John?
How different is playing a backfield like Louisville's, where they're all kind of smaller, scat guys? Even the running backs are kind of smaller guys. Like, is that? I feel like that's different than most of the offensive guys.
Yeah, it's totally different than the other one that we played a little while back. I mean, these guys are like cheetahs, and you can pull them down with one hand. You sure you could, but if you don't get that one hand on them, and once they take off, I told you before we started, they're going to be hard to catch. They're 4.3, they're 4.4, they're 4.3, they're 4.4, and they're extremely, extremely fast. Small, but really, really fast.
Where did you feel like you guys kind of fell short on what you were trying to do to stop them?
You got to keep them bottled up because none of us can. Our guys can't run with those guys. A lot of schools can't run with those guys. It's like a track team out there, and you can't let them. You can't let them get space, and you got to make your tackles early, and you got to fill up your gaps. It was some of those guys got lucky, broke a tackle or two, got on some grass, and then there's a lot of speed coming at you, and you're trying to cross the street, and you got cars flying all over the place, Corvettes and Porsches, and I mean it's hard. And that's what it's like trying to tackle those guys out there. Okay, you get one shot, then they're gone.
Steven?
Was there something in that 3rd and 9 play before you made the quarterback switch that you saw? Did Tommy take a hard hit on that play, or
It was in the first half, Stephen, that he got hurt. And I don't want to tell everybody what the injury is because he has one more game.
Sure.
Okay?
Time for two more questions. Andrew?
At least early on, and then definitely in the second half, you guys were moving the ball really well on the ground, but playing from behind after the first quarter, sort of need to pass, keep the ball moving while conserving the clock. I guess, how hard is it to balance when you're seeing the success you're having on the ground, but also trying to get back in the game, basically?
There's no doubt you have to be careful with that. Now, the one thing is even though we were running the ball, some of those runs were 7, 8, 10-yard runs. That's like throwing the football. So we stayed with it for a long period of time because we didn't want to get away from it too quickly because we were having success. But then as the clock starts to go down in the fourth quarter, you're basically beating yourself if you keep letting the clock run instead of trying to stop the clock. You're right.
Last question, Nate?
You spent the first few years really getting to know the league or the conference. What are kind of the challenges for you in recruiting when the league evolves? Like Louisville's not running the same stuff that they were when you first entered the league. So what do you do?
We need to evolve as well. What's the whole thing? If you don't evolve, you die. So we need to evolve as well. I think it's good that they do that stuff, and it's different, and we're going to adjust to it. It's the first time we saw it, just like the first time we rode through the league and people were adjusting to us, and they're playing us better. We need to keep evolving to stay with those type of offenses, and we need to keep evolving as an offense so it's difficult for them to stay with us.
Thanks very much for your time, Coach.
Thank you.